Ooh, blimey, not a moment too soon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like 2 minutes to go before clock. Okay. Right. Brace yourselves, everyone. We're in for a bit of a treat tonight because Matt's head's a bit mushy, and he's going to try and press all the right buttons, but not necessarily
at the wrong time.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything's entirely possible.
We'll have C1's media in C3.
Absolutely. And, 100%. Yeah. You'll be lucky if that's all you have to contend with, dear.
No, you'll be all right. You'll be all right.
Right, 552. That's loaded. The clock's loaded.
I did think earlier. I wonder what it'd be like to do an entire show on my own.
Sure. What could possibly?
It would be definitely interesting.
Small problem. No Zoom.
Oh, no Zoom.
Yeah, hang on. I've got no video. Hang on.
We've got no Zoom.
Okay. Hopefully, I have. Yeah. It's because. Oh, I'm going to have to go to the go button and work it all out as we go. Here we go.
Okay.
Because it's just you and me, I can set the audio level right, can't I? So, hang on. 15 seconds. Here we go.
Beep, beep.
We're off.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Well, hello and welcome to episode 552 of the Plain Talking UK podcast. I'm Carlos, and in this week's show, is global really all it's cracked up to be, or did they overuse the speed tape? BA get fined, and Heathrow gets a new control tower. Or is it just for birds? In the military this week, it's all droney, and we do need to call Mulder and Scully for what could be an X-File. And joining me this week, he's not frantically running around at all in the studio getting anything work properly. He is, of course, master of buttons, Matt Smith.
Absolutely, but you see, there never set very strict rules. You see, we must at all costs start on time, regardless of what's going on in the studio at the time. So yeah. But the good news is I managed to get it all sorted out during the titles.
So while the credits are rolling, Matt is busy trying to. But
it's all right. It's fine. It's all there. It's all good. It's all good. Nobody panic.
Oh dear. Well, it's a kind of a short list of staff this week at PTUK headquarters. Nev is off enjoying himself. He's up north somewhere. I think he's enjoying himself. Somewhere where it's very hilly. And very, very sort of
and sunny.
Lots of valleys.
Sunny is the word you're looking for as well.
Yes,
yeah, absolutely.
But he's enjoying himself with Mrs. Nev. Hopefully, he'll be back next week. But hopefully, he'll come back with a tan. You know what Nev's like when he gets in the sun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, beetroot in colour.
Beetroot, yeah. Absolutely. And Nev, like I said, Nev will be back next week, and he'll be regaling us all of his stories with his Cougar, because I know his car has had quite a trial with this trip he's had.
Oh, that's it?
Time, yeah, but he's loved it though. I did speak to him earlier, and he's loved it. Very comfy, he says.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, love that for him. Yeah, and
he's missing this week. He was due to be with us this week. If you'd have heard last week on the show, he was due to be with us this week, but unfortunately, Andy is he's a busy boy. He's simming and doing loads of training stuff, so Andy won't be joining us this evening, unfortunately.
No, sadly not.
Very sad.
No.
Sad times. But so it's just me and Matt. It's like the old days.
It
like
is.
The olden days of PTUK.
See if
episode
we can remember how
100.
to do it, shall we? Yeah. Episode 100. I should
Yeah, oh my word. That was never. Yes, awesome.
That
awesome.
was Inside a Vulcan.
Inside the Vulcan, yeah. So don't forget, we have had quite a few entries into our competition we set for you guys last week. There's no big questions. Literally, all you have to do is email in the show with your favourite aviation films or film, if there is any one. Because we did run a story last week on the current films that were streaming across the streaming networks, which are very popular aviation films. The prize we have for you to win, which we're giving away for the one we pull out of the hat, is a lovely piece of Golf Lima Sierra Alpha India's skin. There we go. For those of you watching the world of YouTube, there is a piece of the glorious Jet 2 Boeing 757-200 from Jet 2 there, which we have a piece of the skin here of the aircraft. Very nice indeed. Comes with a little certificate as well for you, so you can put that on your shelves. I know there's quite a few out there who collect pieces of aircraft. Not just me. So more info on how to win that later on the show. But as I said, we've had quite a few people enter their favourite films in for to be entered into the hat to be pulled out next week. So hopefully Nev will be pulling another of his aviation-themed hat next week on the show. So we've got news to get through. We've got a retro airline ad of the week. We've got two back-to-back videos this week for our retro airline ad of the week this week. We're going to go back to the 60s and then fast forward to the late 70s for that this week. So that's all to look forward to. So let's have a look and see who's in the chat room this evening. Starting off at the top of the list, Hobby Time was in there first this week. He's beat Mazouz. He's beat him in there.
There'll be complaints.
Hobby Time, hello to you. Mazouz is in the close second there. Hello, Hobby Time and Mazouz as well. Good to see you in there. Richard Adams is in the chat room. Tanya, hello, Tanya. Good to see you in there. Dirk Hess, good evening to you as well. The lovely Bill, he's in there, says good afternoon, good evening all. Good to see you in there, Bill. And we scroll down, make sure I don't miss you. Masha, hello to you, Masha. Says, good evening, everyone. Hope you're enjoying the sunshine where you are as well, Masha. It's been lovely here in the UK. Kevin Wallander, evening, guys, he says. Hello to you, Kevin. John Jester, one of our regular guest hosts. John Jester's on that in there tonight. Hello to you, John. I expect he's in somewhere in...
Exotic.
Out of Mongolia somewhere, or I don't know where John goes. He goes all around the world. Dirk S, good evening to you. Dirk S says, where it's hilly, there are usually valleys too. Yes, Never's got caught in and out of valleys, he is, but he's having fun. And apparently John Jess is on his couch.
I
mean...
Well, that's very civilised.
Best place to be.
But it's the future.
That is. And yes, hello to everyone who's joined us tonight. Don't forget, if you're listening in the world of downloading, as in the audio version of the show, if you want to see what or how stunning me and Matt look in the real life, get yourselves over to YouTube on our Wednesday night live show from 7 o'clock where we're live. Don't forget, when you're in YouTube world, hit the subscribe and bell icon to be notified when Matt is clicking on the go live button and we're recording a new show. So commercial news first, and we've got lots to get through this week. So if all the team are ready,
woo! We have to shout loud, aren't we? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, we are. And the first story this week is from ukaviation.news. And it's the news that's been, well, on the news all week. It's all about global airlines. The first...
Been on the news so much, even I've heard of it.
Even Matt's heard of it. Yes, we've been talking about this for about the last 7,000 years. Global Airlines' first flight happened, and I must admit I was watching it live because they had the guys over at the airfield there doing some video live streaming there, and I watched the aircraft taxi and take off. It was quite interesting to see. especially the close-up shots of the aircraft. More on that in a moment. So Global Airlines, first flight, a failure to deliver, question mark, says here. Global Airlines, the UK startup that wants to redefine travel and bring back the golden age, carried out its first revenue flight, invited influencers from across the globe to buy tickets for the flight and review it. Now the reviews are coming in and Global Airlines may be wishing they hadn't have bothered. One of the key selling points of the idea of Global Airlines is that it will offer top quality premium products on an A380. It put its flight from Glasgow to New York on sale some time ago, offering an economy business and first class cabin at prices ranging from several £100s to several £1,000s. Despite the 380 being configured to seat 506 passengers, only around 90 passengers were booked on the flight. I think it was 95 in the end. Among those were invited to buy tickets were travel vloggers Josh Cahill, Noel Phillips, along with baggage handler turned travel expert Simon Calder. Global Airlines brought their A380, the sole aircraft, several years ago, and since then it's been undergoing maintenance and training under the care of Hi-Fly Malta, a charter specialist, as Global Airlines does not hold its own AOC, or Air Operator Certificate, so can't carry its own flights. The aircraft was delivered to China Southern back in 2013, where it operated with a Chinese airline until it was stored in 2022, was purchased by Global Airlines in 2023. As Global Airlines doesn't hold an AOC, the flight from Glasgow to New York was operated by Hi-Fly Malta with the crew under the flight number HFM 380. What Global Airlines promised. So the Global Airlines spent the last 2 years doing heavy PR marketing, showcasing their state-of-the-art cabin ideas and telling us how they were going to bring back the golden age of travel with partnerships with Laurent Pierre Champagne and high-class caviar brands. They promised en-suite first class and state-of-the-art in-flight entertainment and connectivity. Now, the story does go on, but I've watched a couple of the reviews online, namely Noel Phillips and Josh Cahill of his reviews.
Which one is the gentleman we're looking at the moment?
So yes, the picture on the screen at the moment on YouTube is the guy who founded Global. He is the guy who's fronted the whole thing, the man behind it, the CEO. But for those of you who may have watched it online, would have seen the reviewers from Josh and Noel Phillips as well of what was going on that first flight inside the cabin. Now, a lot of the pictures or the video that I saw, which a lot of you probably saw, was from the aspect of the economy, the business, and the first class cabin. Now, yes. One of the things I was saying to Matt before we went live tonight was, and I think Matt picked up on this as well from what he'd seen, was how quite well worn the interior of the 380 was.
See, I was quite shocked because what I didn't realise, and this serves me right, because perhaps I didn't pay attention, because, as you say, we have been covering this story significantly. 300
years.
But, of course, so I remember, and I think it was you, Nev, and Owen at the time, wasn't it? Because he'd come to Farnborough. And you guys went on the Hi-Fly 380 that they had. Now, I thought that was the same plane, and I was saying to you I was quite surprised at how tired it was in 2016, considering it hadn't been doing much flying and all that kind of thing. And you were saying that it's actually not that. So the plane itself is actually owned by Global, but it was being flown by Hi-Fly. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the aircraft was an ex-China Southern.
Right.
That was who brought the aircraft back in, was it 2013, I think it was, wasn't it? Or, 2013, yeah. So they brought the aircraft from new, and then they sold it to sold it to Hi-Fly in 2022. It went into storage, and then was obviously brought by this chap here, who you just shown on the screen, and had the Global colours put on. But because Global hasn't got their own AOC, Air Operator Certificate, they can't sell tickets and do all the important things. So Hi-Fly have to step in, and they use their crew and all their kind of bits to be able to sell the tickets and crew the aircraft, etc. Pilots, might be. But the aircraft, as I said, because it was 2013. So what's that? That was 12 years old. Yeah, 12 years old. So it's done. It's a bit like buying a 2011 Ford Mondeo.
Right, okay.
That's done 160,000 miles.
I'd like to think that my 2011 Ford Mondeo was in slightly better interior, standard, shall we say?
Yeah.
I mean that's the big takeaway, because I mean at the end of the day, this wasn't a cheap flight. I know it was exciting that it was flying out of Glasgow. Where was it flying to? Just remind me.
New York.
So New York.
Yeah, it's going to New York.
And you were saying it was over like £2,000 or something.
Yeah, I think the economy seats were £380 because they had a special offer on £380. Funnily enough, 380 return. The business class seats, I think they sold those at £1,999.
Okay, just shy of 2,000, yeah.
And the first class seats, I think they were 3,000 or just over 3,000 quid, so about another £1,000 on top for the first class. But there were the one issue that everyone picked up on, and I know we talk about it on the show about having IFE, and it's important to have a TV to watch and films, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then we always say it's also nice to look out the window.
Yeah.
But none of the IFE seat back TVs worked.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
Despite that being one of the big selling points about what Global was going to bring to the market. And all that kind of thing. I mean, also the other thing that sort of popped into my head here, because I mean, certainly that flight going out there. Do we know if they came back on the same? Did they come back as well? Do we know?
Well, the flight came back, but I think it was 4 days later. So right. I forget which day it went out now, and it came back at the end of the week. So it didn't come back straight away.
Right. But I wonder if they all came back. On the flight. Yeah. So there's two issues with it. There's one, did they come back with it? Because there might have been some issues that they hadn't got resolved, but while it was there, they were able to sort of get it sorted. And the other thing is they won't have made very much money from this flight at all. And I'll tell you.
Oh, good Lord!
Because I'm pretty damn sure the influencers will not have been paying for it, and I dare.
Oh, they did.
Oh, they did. They
yes,
actually paid
that is
full
the
price.
surprising thing.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't believe it, because normally when you start, you do a start airline, blah blah blah. Oh, I'm going to give Carlos, Matt, and Nev
so many
and
away and all
the
that
tickets away.
Right.
But no, they all had to pay. Although it was obviously, I think it was probably a lot cheaper than what they would pay for a normal ticket. But it was they still had to pay for their tickets.
Okay.
For the privilege.
Interesting. A surprise, I think, is what I would say to that.
It's a shame because, well, I don't know. Will it work? Will it not work?
I mean, long term, it's not going to work if they're having to rely on. I mean, it's like, wet leasing is where you basically borrow the plane and the crew, isn't it? I mean, I don't know quite what you call when you borrow a crew and a license and all this kind of thing. I mean, realistically, long term, that's not going to be sustainable, is it?
No, I mean the funny thing of it is, Matt, is like they are offering these tickets, like I said, in economy for 380 quid, and they obviously didn't sell well because, well, the flight had 90 odd people on board, 95 passengers, and normally if say, let's just say for instance Virgin or BA or Emirates even. Yeah. If they were going to offer you a flight on one of their aircraft, even in economy for 380 quid return to New York, pretty sure they'd have a damn good uptake on that price because that's cheap.
Yeah.
That's really cheap.
And you should put some of the big players in there to sort of like help. And also, I mean, realistically, I know it's lovely to go from Glasgow directly to New York as an example. Yeah. But I mean, realistically, how they've got to make it cheaper because how much is it going to cost you to get a little sort of like I'm sure even Ryanair do a little like Glasgow or something to like
not to New York, but
no, but to one of the London airports to then
to
catch a much cheaper flight. I mean, it's lovely being able to go direct. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, realistically, I don't know. I don't think we're going to be seeing Andy eating a hat anytime soon.
No, Andy's hat is safe. It's safe.
Yeah.
But if you've not seen the review videos, they are all on YouTube. There's probably about a handful of videos you can watch on there that kind of cover all the aspects of the flight itself. There were lots of things that were just, I don't know. It was almost like they've got an old plane, got some stickers made up from the local sticker company, and gone around and stuck them on things. Yeah. Branded it, even though it is not. It's just. Well,
I mean, a label is a label at the end of the day, but you know, I mean,
Stuck a lot of sore thumb.
they'd said that it had been like retrimmed and all that kind of thing, and you know, certainly from some of the videos and stuff we were watching, I mean, I don't know what had been retrimmed, but it certainly wasn't some of the seats that we were seeing photos of.
No,
So
but the one thing they did, I think, do okay on the flight with, although it was very slow service. I think one of the services was nearly 2 hours they were waiting, but apparently the food was actually really good.
Right. Okay.
So.
But why was it taking them so long to get? Mind you, I suppose it was a full flight. Perhaps
a full flight of 95.
Yeah. Oh, 95. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. No, maybe not.
And 95 people, they still couldn't do the full 2-meal service for the entire flight.
I mean, I know a cabin crew who could have probably done 95 people on their own and still beaten that time. To be fair, so
yeah. And lastly, before we move on, if anyone gets a chance to look at some pictures of the aircraft, the 9 Hotel Global, GLOBL, or whatever it was. If you get a chance to look at the aircraft online, look at the leading edge of each of the wings. It literally looks as if that aircraft had, in its past, flown through 7,000 hailstorms on it in its life and never been repainted. It looks awful. I think if you'd have been sitting in this overwing seat, Matt, you'd have probably looked out your window and thought,
I'd be checking for parachutes. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Jolly.
Anyway, moving on with the next story. Normally this would be it's a BA story, but Matt, BA have got a couple of quid to pay.
Yes, indeed. Paddle your own canoe is the source on this one. And British Airways slammed with $4 million fine after shocking safety lapses. British Airways has been fined more than £3 million. That's $4 million after the airline pleaded guilty to breaking health and safety laws following a prosecution by regulators at Southwark Crown Court in central London. The 2 ground workers sustained serious head injuries, including one who suffered bleeding on the brain after falls from height while unloading luggage from British Airways planes at its flagship Terminal 5 hub at London Heathrow Airport. During the trial, it was revealed that inspectors from the Health and Safety Executive had previously warned British Airways about the risks posed to workers while working on special cargo unloading machines known as televators. Fortunate to be alive is how it's been described, and the incident happened as follows. British Airways had started a programme to fit extendable guardrails to its travel televators in 2022, but on August the 25th, 2022, a ground worker slipped off a televator that had still didn't have the guardrails installed. The 54-year-old victim fell 1.5 metres to the tarmac below, sustaining a serious head injury and back injuries, including broken vertebrae. In the second incident, a 43-year-old ground worker fell 3 metres from the side of a machine used to unload baggage and containers from an aircraft. The victim had to be rushed to hospital after sustaining a fractured jaw and bleeding on the brain from the fall. BA had been warned about safety risks, the court heard. The risks of working at height and the necessary control measures are well established in these cases. Adequate guardrails should have significantly reduced the risk of harm, explained HSE enforcement lawyer Rebecca Schwart. This was a reasonably foreseeable risk that British Airways should have been aware of, and therefore it should have done more to protect its employees. Schwart said that both workers were fortunate to be alive after the case was concluded. The British Airways company was fined $1.33 million for the 2022 incident and a further £1.875 million for the 2023 incident after pleading guilty to 2 charges under Regulation 6(3) of the Work at Height Regulations 2005 Act. The court also ordered the airline to pay £20,935 in costs. British Airways responded as follows in a statement. A spokesperson for British Airways said that safety is always our highest priority, and we're deeply regretting that despite the measures we had in place, these incidents occurred. The statement added, having worked closely with the Health and Safety Executive, we had made changes to our procedures. The Unite Union, which represents British Airways ground workers at Heathrow, welcomed the fine imposed on the airline, saying that one of the injured workers still suffers from long-term health problems, including chronic pain and headaches. British Airways must ensure that lessons have been learned from these devastating incidences, slammed the Union General Secretary Sharon Graham. Nobody should be seriously injured while at work, and Unite welcomes the decision to convict British Airways for its failure to protect staff. There's a couple of things that are a surprise, shall we say, to this for me personally. The first one is that there was a fault, if you like, had been identified. And for reasons best only known to British Airways, they were quite slow in sort of implementing the guardrails that they're talking about in this story. And then the same thing happened again in 2023, which would rather imply that they hadn't completed the renovations or the alterations, if you like, to comply with the earlier. I mean, it's a staggering story in this day and age, especially when we are so wrapped up in health and safety and all that kind of thing. I mean, it's, this seems absolutely baffling to me that a problem had been identified prior to the incident, and they were in the process of installing them. But I mean, there's a strong argument for saying that they weren't fit for purpose until those guards had been put on. So I would argue they shouldn't have been using them.
This story is come up like this because the reason I've been incredibly busy this week at work is because we just had our health and safety review with our new guy who's coming as a health and safety person, and we have procedures in place, and you have your risk assessments for literally every single task that I do within the warehouse. And the minute anything is like wrong or needs repairing or replacing or something like that, it's done straight away. There's no question about it. It is, nothing happens until that particular thing is remedied or fixed or replaced or done. And you'd kind of think that in a job or in a place such as an airport, in and around where this has happened, the level of safety, the measures would be huge. You'd have all the PPE, personal protective equipment, all that kind of stuff. You'd never think that there would, albeit an accident's going to happen. There's going to be an accident happen at some time, because they always do. Accidents happen. That's the part and parcel of life.
Yes, but I mean, there's a big difference for an accident to so where clearly an issue had been identified. And they were given instructions to put that fault right. And then for whatever reason, they were very slow doing it. Then this awful thing happens. But the bit that I can't get my head around is it happened again in 2023.
Yeah, someone dropped dropped the many balls there.
Yeah, indeed, absolutely.
And didn't follow up with paperwork and stuff like that. It's surprising this was missed.
They should have been not allowed to be used until they'd been. Because nothing would make the company get on with it. Perhaps there's an argument for the health and safety executive not being strong enough. Perhaps here to enforce, like a ban of use until the fault had been corrected. Perhaps, but I mean, obviously, thoughts go out to the two people who have been hurt.
Yeah, it's awful. It's not good.
Anything
not good.
From the chat room on this, Carlos? Just out of interest.
Master of none. That's why they're called accidents and not on purposes.
Yeah, true.
Very true. Yeah, very true.
Very true. Yeah.
Also, Master of None says, "Hi everyone, sorry I'm late."
Oh, fair enough, lovely. Your apology is accepted.
Don't worry.
Yeah, it's fine. That's all right. I've accepted the note. Don't worry.
To be fair, BA were late fixing this problem, so they're
absolutely
late with this. Yeah,
indeed.
But hopefully this will be changed. Obviously, with fines and that rattling around here,
and these are big numbers, aren't they?
They're big numbers. They're just huge numbers. Yeah.
I mean, I hope the people who were hurt will see some of that money.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, I'm sure they will.
Indeed.
Right, next story comes from golfbusiness.com. Some great pictures of this. I didn't know about this until it came up on the news feed. Nick put these in the notes for this week. But Emirates have unveiled a A380 livery for a new courier service, express service. And this livery is amazing. There's a video of this as well, which I'm sure Matt will ping around at some point. But inspired by a brown paper packaging, the design wraps the aircraft's nose and fuselage in craft paper graphics, appearing torn to reveal the UAE flag on the tail fin and the Emirates Courier Express logo prominently displayed on both sides. So Emirates has unveiled a bespoke livery on its iconic A380 aircraft to promote the launch of its new door-to-door delivery solution called Emirates Courier Express. The move marks the first time a cargo-themed design has been applied to one of the airline's passenger aircraft. The newly liveried A380 took off for OR Tambo International Airport in Johannesburg this week, transporting both passengers and parcels in a showcase of the airline's latest logistics offering. And look at that on their screen. It looks so cool.
Looks amazing.
Designed and managed in-house by Emirates Engineering, the livery transforms the aircraft into a symbol of the express delivery service. Inspired by brown paper packaging, the design wrapped the aircraft's nose, as we saw earlier, and the four engines feature the same logo, while the aircraft's belly retains the airline's classic red branding. Additional design elements include a large special delivery stamp and a series of international handling marks, bringing the parcel concept vividly to life. The livery underscores the airline's ambitions to merge its 4 decades of experience in global passenger and cargo transport with a fully integrated express delivery network. Emirates Courier Express leverages the group's fleet of over 250 wide-bodied aircraft and its global route map alongside the infrastructure and expertise of Emirates Sky Cargo. The aircraft repainting process, as you can probably see if you're watching on YouTube right now, includes designs, product and installation and a complete respray, forming part of a broader brand initiative underlying Emirates' growing focus on end-to-end logistics solutions. And it's just different.
It's stunning. I love it.
It's just different.
It's absolutely, it's quirky. I think whoever come up with that design, brilliant. Absolutely love it.
Do you know one of the things I noticed, Matt? I don't know if you noticed on that video, when they were applying the paint and the decals to the fuselage, there was no imperfections. There was no bubbles, air bubbles, bumps, lumps and stuff.
It's almost like it went to a paint shop that had done spraying before.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah. And the guys there, they take, you think you just get a spray gun and just, be done with it. But the amount of effort that these guys went into making sure this looks incredible is just unreal.
Well, I mean, well played. I mean, it is, in my opinion, absolutely stunning. A really clever idea. Not something that I would argue perhaps Emirates are a little bit slow to the party on this one. I know they've been carrying cargo, but not in an official sort of that sort of way before. Although
there's Emirates Cargo. There's a cargo division. Yeah, there's a cargo division. But I think what they're trying to target with this, Matt, is like the kind of small part. Like the stuff they order from Temu.
Yeah, right. Because you never do that, of course.
That's why they've done this, just for all the stuff that I ordered. I hope Gemma's not watching now.
Yeah, she might be. She's cooking.
I'm supposed to have stopped ordering things from Temu. I can't stop.
Have you? Right, okay. Yes, it's all right. My mum has the same problem.
Oh, no.
We're waiting on some lovely little LED lights for the outside at the moment. But anyway, I can't wait for them to come. Yes, indeed.
It's a good idea. I like it.
And brilliant livery. I really do think it. I think it's brilliant.
I do think really more airlines should expand, broaden their horizons on their liveries. Yeah, because I was talking to our good friend. I was talking to our good friend Alan White this afternoon, and we were talking about liveries and stuff because he was flying, as we know, Alan flies he flies in Ireland a lot. But he was saying it was parked next to some French aircraft that had flown over, and they were just plain white with a black line on. That was it.
Wow.
It's just, there's no, even the Air France livery, I'm not a huge fan of. It's just too boring. But
it's very simple, isn't it?
Master of None in the chat room says, did you guys see JetBlue has Dunkin' Donut liveries?
Oh, really? I assume some kind of sponsorship deal.
That just made me hungry.
Yeah,
that would just make me hungry. Yeah. Actually, on that note as well, one of mine and Matt's local coffee companies have been awarded the contract to supply TUI with coffee.
Oh, what? Fresh Pack?
No.
Oh, go on. What? Not Harrison? No. Harrison Jones? No. Okay. No idea then. No.
Or should I say?
I don't know. You're not allowed to.
Well, I should do. Yeah, I can do actually because it's been announced online.
Okay. We'll perhaps come back to that next week. We'll come back to that next week. That's exciting. I'll move on to the next story then. And
Ryanair.
Indeed, absolutely. Flightglobal.com. Put my teeth and try that again. Flightglobal.com is the source for this one, and Ryanair maintains 737 MAX 10 delivery planning as confidence in fleet catch-up rises. Oh, that's exciting. Budget air operator Ryanair Group is planning for the arrival of its initial 15 Boeing 737 MAX 10s in spring 2027 as it becomes increasingly confident of putting its fleet renewal back on track. The airline states that Boeing expect the MAX 10 to be certified late this year and continues to plan for the timely delivery of the type, with 300 due to arrive by March 2034. While Ryanair expanded its fleet of 737 MAX 8-200s to 181 over the past fiscal year, it says this will restrict its growth for 2025 and 2026 to 3%, a total of 206 million passengers. We are working closely with Boeing to accelerate deliveries, it said, but Ryanair adds that it is increasingly confident that the remaining 29 MAX 8-200s from its order backlog will be delivered well ahead of the summer 2026 season. This will enable it to catch up delayed traffic growth into 26 and 27 fiscal year, by the end of which it foresees an overall fleet of 655 aircraft. Ryanair gave the outlook as it disclosed a 16% fall in full year net profits to a measly 1.61 billion euros. That's $1.8 billion for the 12 months ending the 31st of March 2025. The company points out that repeated stimulation over the year was necessitated by consumer spending pressure and a big drop in online travel agency bookings before the summer. It was also affected by the earlier Easter holiday period in 2024. The Ryanair gave the outlook as it disclosed a 16% fall in full year net profit. It's repeated a bit there, sorry. But it adds...
They always do these stories.
Yeah, but it adds that the final outcome for the first half is heavily dependent on close-in bookings and peak summer yields. Ryanair says it cautiously expects to recover most but not all of last year's 7% fall in fares, and that it will return in reasonable net profit growth for 2025-26. I'm reading that story as though Ryanair made a massive loss.
Yeah, they did. That was a big story that came out this week from Michael O'Leary. He did say that the prices could go up, flight prices, because of that issue of not making... Well, they may. I don't think it was something to do with some form of the profit or something to do with the airline. If you read, there's stories online, you can find out more about
I don't know. I don't understand big business, and that's probably why I will always be a doer rather than an owner. I'm fully aware of that. But in this current climate, to have only had a fall of 16%, I mean, that story reads like oh, woe is me. Oh, woe is me, Ryanair. And they still made, according to this, a full year net profit of 1.61 billion euros. That's not even a million, it's a billion euros.
Oh, poor bloke. That's one less, Panini he's going to be able to buy.
But the thing, this is what I can't get my head around. It's like, there are businesses absolutely on their knees at the moment that would absolutely kill to only have a 16% fall in their profit.
Oh yeah,
because especially here in the UK, it is an incredibly tough market at the moment, and it doesn't matter what industry you're in; it is just horrible. So I don't know. I think we should. I mean, I know he's not famous for being magnanimous, shall we say? But
we'll get him on the show.
I think 16%. We should consider ourselves very lucky that he only had a 16% fall in.
I know. I'll tell you one thing that he is looking forward to. The fact that when he eventually gets these Max 10 aircraft, that's 41 extra bums on seats.
Yeah,
over the current Dash 800s in the Ryanair fleet. So there'll be 41 extra passengers per aircraft.
Right, he will be delighted. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I know, but they're kind of. It's when you look at the Max 10, it's quite a long aircraft. I think it's the longest they'll ever be able to stretch the 737.
Right. Okay.
Ever, they cannot stretch it anymore. God, I think
challenge
fall in half. But it's very it's similar-ish, harking back to the 757. It's kind of like a similar kind of size, 230 passengers. Maximum seating on the Max 10 is 230 passengers. Yeah. So but no. Hopefully, Boeing will be delivering these within the next 7,000 years, all being well.
Yeah.
Right, next story, and something that I've had issues with in the past. I'm hoping that when we go to Malta in a few weeks' time, I won't have this issue because I now have a spanking brand new passport. This is from TheGuardian.com. UK on verge of deal with the EU to let Britons use European passport e-gates. God, I hope they do. Exclusive agreement could cut airport queues caused by the need to have passports stamped after Brexit. British holidaymakers could face shorter airport queues this summer, with negotiators on the verge of striking an agreement for the UK passport holders to use e-gates across Europe. Downing Street said last Saturday that it was poised to strike a deal with the EU that would improve things for Britons facing queues on holiday. The Guardian understood that officials on both sides were in talks about allowing British travellers to use e-gates reserved for people from the EU or European Economic Area when arriving at airports in Europe, ending the current two-queue system. The issue forms part of negotiations before the highly anticipated UK-EU summit in London on Monday this week, which was a few days ago, which will focus on a security and defence pact. Since Brexit, British travellers have had to queue to have their passports stamped when arriving in many European airports. Some airports in Portugal, Spain have introduced e-gates that accept British passports, though the Foreign Office still encourages UK travellers to get their passports stamped. I must admit, I do like a stamp in my book.
Indeed.
Nick Thomas-Symonds, the EU's Relations Minister, appeared to confirm on Sunday last week that British holidaymakers could face shorter airport queues. He also suggested that any youth mobility scheme with Europe would have to be smart and controlled, as well as being consistent with the government's immigration policy. Now, the UK has already set up its own travel authorisation scheme for EU and other international travellers, which came into force last month, modelled on the system used by the US. Costs you £16 and allows multiple visits to the UK of up to 6 months over a 2-year period. Several other mobility-related issues are also under discussions by British and European negotiations ahead of this week's summit. So, I've had it a few times where I've travelled into places in Europe and obviously had to queue in a separate queue because you can't use the EU e-gates. You've got to go through a separate place. It would be nice to have it all just so we all use the same e-gates. You know, we've all got passports at the end of the day. We'll get our faces scanned, passport scanned, etc., etc. You know, but yeah, we'll see what happens in a few weeks' time with my brand new passport. whether when I face it down on the reader and push it in, whether it will
work or not.
God, I hope
Mine works quite well, I have to say. I've not really had any too many problems with it since I realised that I was reading the image incorrectly and was putting it in upside down the whole time.
Oh yes, I've done that a million times.
Yeah, absolutely. But by the time I'd realised it was too late and all that kind of thing, the last couple of times it's worked really nicely.
Have you got a new one?
No. Mine. I've still got. I think another.
You got the EU passport, the reddish
I've still got another 2 years left to run on that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I've got a little while to run on that one. I'm just very nervous about, without wanting to get political, I'm just very nervous about potentially where this is. Well, I want to say it's good news, but I'm also a bit concerned because there was a vote and all that kind of thing. As I say, I'm not going to say it anymore. I'm a little. Let's put it this way: I'm a little uncomfortable with. I need to find out more information. I think is the reality on this one. But at the moment, with the limited amount of information I have at the moment, I'm a little uncomfortable with this.
Richard Adams comment in the chat room.
I can't see the chat room.
Thank you, Richard.
Okay.
He says
not one we can read out, is it? Or?
Oh no, I can read it out. But this is what happens when you do the podcast for so many years. The listeners get to know you. Richard Adams says you could get a Maltese passport for £800,000, Carlos.
Good point. Well made. Oh, believe me, if he was entitled to one, he'd already have one.
I
Don't
would.
you worry about that.
Oh, my word, I would.
Absolutely, indeed.
Yes.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, we'll move on, shall we?
Yeah, next story. And Matt, you've got this one, haven't you?
Yeah.
This is all about... This is so funny when I saw this on the script.
Indeed, yes. BBC.co.uk is the source for this one. And the headline is Birdwatchers Control Tower Disguise at Heathrow. A new shelter to allow watchers to observe birds at close quarters near Heathrow has been designed to look like an air traffic control tower. Called a bird hide, it allows enthusiasts to watch wildlife at a nature reserve on land owned by the West London Airport. Heathrow said its 13 nature reserves were home to 79 bird species, including kingfishers and barn owls, as well as rare spiders and butterflies. But a local MP says if Heathrow is serious about protecting and promoting biodiversity, it could start by taking its plans for a third runway off the table. The bird hide is part of an attempt by Heathrow to raise awareness of its nature plan. The installation of the bird hide is part of an attempt by Heathrow. Why does it keep doing this? Sorry, it's repeating itself again. It includes expanding the amount of land the airport manages for conservation. Marina Wilson, Liberal Democrat MP for Twickenham, told BBC London, "We welcome all initiatives that Heathrow and any other organisation takes to improve biodiversity and encourage people to take an interest in nature. But at the end of the day, as things stand, Heathrow wants to build a third runway. The Climate Change Committee and various experts have said there is no way that Heathrow will be able to meet its climate change commitments. Ultimately, that's going to be very bad news for our biodiversity." In January, the government announced its backing for expansion of Heathrow as part of its plans for growing the economy. Chancellor Rachel Reeves said that she wanted to see spades in the ground in the current Parliament and for planes to start using a new third runway by the end of 2035. Why does it take so long to do these things? Why have we got to wait 10 years for a runway?
Just read the chat room, Matt.
Okay. Heathrow said it had invested £250 million in carbon and sustainability projects since 2022. Rosie Howell, head of sustainable strategy at the airport, spoke to BBC London at the site of the new bird hide. She said that we're located in a community and we can manage land in a way that benefits nature and the people that live around us. We're in a beautiful natural spot that can coexist with an airport that's on its doorstep. What we've done is to look at the land we have and to acquire extra land around the airport to make sure we can benefit biodiversity at the same time as operating here. Now, producer, I'm not sure which one, whether it be
That was Nick, I think.
It was
that,
Nick,
yeah.
was it? Was saying that might have been a good idea to mention where it is in case anybody wants to find out. Making it look like a control tower is a bit silly, looks rather jarring in that setting. Yeah, I can see what he means. There are some lovely areas adjacent to the airport perimeter, especially for aircraft on approach to 27 right.
Yes. Now, Matt, you have got some pictures
have I?
of
Okay,
said,
all right. Yeah,
said
sorry.
bird. I shall continue. But there's some pictures of this bird thing. I've
okay.
been,
Yeah.
And I agree with Nick. They should obviously, tell everyone where this is. But it's quite amusing because what I love about this picture, Matt, is the fact they've got the control tower there for obviously watching birds. Lovely, very nice in a nice kind of environmental setting there, with a huge aircraft taking off above their heads.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, so
very good.
Yes, indeed. I mean, it's a gimmick at the end of the day, isn't it? I mean, it could be an ordinary hide.
It's a nice idea. It's a nice idea for bird watchers, because there are a lot of people who do watch birds.
Mm-hmm.
And I, for one, I must admit, when we we go out for walks regularly now, into the village and stuff. It's quite nice to hear the birds. But
yes, no, absolutely. But I don't understand why it can't just be a traditional hide.
That
would I mean, it's a designer that's come up with this crazy idea and all that kind of thing. I don't know what it brings to the landscape is my issue, I guess.
Well, me and Matt have been very lucky in the past. We've had the chance to go up to the top of the actual control tower at Heathrow. It's a lot bigger than that. But you notice, Matt, they're missing the lift on the side.
That's a good point. You must have somewhere where poor Adam can get stuck.
Yes, exactly.
But indeed,
dear, honestly.
Absolutely. I don't know. As I say, I love the idea of the nature and all that kind of thing. It looks like a great space, as you say. But I just can't get my head around it could just be an ordinary high. What have you seen?
Oh, good Lord. The chat room are on fire tonight. Richard Adams says that looks like a giant bin.
Yes, it is. And there's some very easy to access slots to put your rubbish in as well, I think. Yeah.
Dirk S, always with the comments, Dirk. Let's call it the Bird Strike Watchtower. Oh, blimey, that's a bit... you don't really want to be watching bird strikes, hopefully. Not that close to an airport anyway, fingers crossed. But no, it's a good idea. The kids will love it,
No, I love the idea of the nature reserve. I just don't see the point in it, because they'll have paid a small fortune for that particular hide.
Probably. That's food quid's worth there.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. The Aviation Aviation A to Z.com, this one is from. And Singapore Airlines are going to be retiring their last 4 737s. The world's best carrier, it says here in the story. Mind you, they do win the awards every year, to be fair. Singapore Airlines has confirmed it will retire its last 4 737-800 by March next year. That's 2026. The jets, once operated by Silk Air, have become increasingly outdated, limiting Singapore Airlines' ability to offer consistent on-board amenities across its fleet. With the withdrawal of the 737s, all Singapore Airlines aircraft will feature full lie-flat business class seats and fleet-wide Wi-Fi. Replacements for the aircraft, which will be the 737-8 MAX, will begin arriving by the end of this year and into next year, 2026, advancing the airline's modernisation goals at Singapore Changi Airport. Singapore Airlines has officially scheduled the retirement of its final 4 737s by the 31st of March next year, marking an end of an era for its short-haul narrow-body operations. While they served as a stopgap measure for the aircraft, offered a notably inferior product: no seat back screens, no Wi-Fi, and outdated business class seats without lie-flat capability. Their cabin refresh was minimal, with only new seat upholsteries added, leaving the experience far behind current Singapore standards. The withdrawal will be phased with the final scheduling flight on October the 25th, 2025, ahead of the lease termination in January next year. The process requires advanced removal from operational duty for aircraft preparation and return. To replace the 737-800, Singapore Airlines plans to revive 5 737 MAX 8 aircraft before the financial year ends. This will bring the airline's total 737-8 fleet to 21 aircraft, supporting regional operations with improved passenger amenities such as the lie-flat seats in business, seat-back entertainment, and the all-important Wi-Fi. The aircraft have not seen new additions since November 2022. The upcoming deliveries will help Singapore products across its short and medium-haul network. The outdated 737-800s restricted Singapore's airline's ability to market its service as fully modernised, and routes flown by these jets did not meet the airline's standard claims of every business class seat is a flatbed seat. But there we go. Despite being just under a decade old, the aircraft felt older due to their interiors. And interestingly, the aircraft in the Singapore Airlines fleet are even older, like the 777s averaging 12 years old, the oldest being 18 and a half years old, with the Airbuses in the fleet averaging 10 to 11 years old, and the oldest being 14 years old. There we go. So getting rid of all the little birds, making way for some brand new shiny new ones. But if anyone's got the money to do it, it's definitely Singapore Airlines.
True that.
So Matt, you've got the next one, and a little short story here for you. This is from somewhere you've been in the last 12 months.
12 months, yeah, absolutely. Sort of express.co.uk is the only thing that I'm super nervous about as our source for this story. So, let's take it all with a pinch of salt, shall we? The world's busiest airport forced to close for incredible new £28 billion revamp. The world's busiest international airport currently serves an impressive 60 million passengers a year and is set for a huge £28 billion expansion revamp. According to Dubai Airport CEO Paul Griffiths, Dubai International Airport will eventually close as it nears the end of its useful operating role. This means that all services will, over the coming decades, be moved to the newer Al Maktoum International Airport, Delta Whiskey Charlie, which expansion includes 5 parallel runways and up to 400 aircraft gates. Mr. Griffiths said that all services will eventually move to the new DWC airport in the coming decades, with major plans to reposition it as a base for global aviation innovation. The major revamp will help increase DWC's capacity to serve up to 260 million passengers annually. It'll also mark DWC's status as the largest airport project in the world, further establishing it as a major global travel hub. Plans worth £28 billion have been announced for the expansion of Dubai's second largest airfield in the city's main international airport, which will make it the largest airport in the world. According to the information published by Dubai Aviation Engineering Projects, the DAEP, the infrastructure developer for Dubai's aviation sector, plans for DWC include a new era of smart airport systems and passenger-centric facilities, taking travellers to worldwide destinations in the most awe-inspiring and comfortable way possible. Found roughly 38 miles from Dubai International Airport, DXB, Al Maktoum International Airport, DWC, opened its doors back in 2010. Currently, DWC is Dubai's second largest airfield, with the new expansion plans set to make it the largest airport in the world.
Every time you said that, I was thinking Clarkson.
Yeah,
Clarkson.
I know.
Clarkson.
I had to treat myself at the end. Yeah,
I know. But you had to. You're allowed to.
Thank you.
It's an amazing airport, Matt. You've travelled into Dubai Airport. Me and Gemma have been through a number of times. It's just incredible. The airport is just amazing inside.
Yeah, I mean,
lots of walking to do.
Yes, there is a lot of walking to do. I was pleased at how well I managed it, if I'm honest with you, especially given the thing. Yeah, I mean, there were definitely parts of the terminal that were tired. There were definitely parts of the terminal that were tired, especially where I was flying in. More specifically, baggage reclaim actually was very, very tired. But other than that, yeah, I mean, it's certainly a very easy airport to navigate, and flying out was a very different experience altogether. It was a very lovely airport flying out. But
it's incredible.
Yeah, indeed. But certainly, like arrivals, sort of all seemed quite tired, to be honest with you, when I was trying to sort of navigate around it. So yeah, I think it's a good thing. I think the revamp is going to make it an even better airport.
They need a big airport for all those 380s. They've got, they've got about 6 million A380s in their fleet. Yeah, they need a big airport.
Absolutely.
Last story in the commercial news this week. This is from aerotime.aero, and Boeing marks 30th anniversary of the first 777 delivery. So on May the 15th, 2025, Boeing marked the 30th anniversary of the first Boeing 777 delivery to United Airlines. That first delivery of the aircraft, which would soon become Boeing's flagship model, took place in Everett, Washington, back on the 15th of May, 1995. The very first airframe to enter commercial service, a 777-200 named the Ship of the Future, with registration November 777UA, or Uniform Alpha, was deployed on its first revenue service with United Airlines a few weeks later, on June the 7th, 1995, on the route between Washington, Dallas, and London Heathrow. The 777, in its multiple versions, has become one of Boeing's most successful airliners programs, with over 1,700 of the type being built to date. The 777, as it's popularly known, has set several records throughout the years. It was the first commercial aircraft to be designed entirely through computer-aided design, and the first twin-engine aircraft to be certified for the 180 minutes ETOPS, or extended twin-engine operations. The 777-200LR version also holds the record for the longest flight without refueling, completed by an airliner set during a demonstration flight from Hong Kong to London across the Pacific back in 2005. What's more, for about a quarter of a century, the GE90-11, a 115B engine, which powers several versions of the 777, was the most powerful commercial engine of its time. This has now been surpassed by the GE90X, which is in fact designed to power the next iteration of the 777, the 777X. Over the last few years, Boeing has been winding down production of its first generation 777s, although several dozen of the type, mostly freighters, remain to be built and delivered in anticipation of the entry into service of the new 777X. This new and thoroughly updated iteration of the 777 family will be produced, at least initially, in two versions, the 777-8 and the 777-9. The latter will be the largest in Boeing's commercial product offering. The 777X first flew back in 2020, and while the program has been subject to serious delays, is expected to obtain certification and enter service by 2026, with Lufthansa as the launch customer. So there, if you want to go and fly the 777X, you need to go and book your tickets with Lufthansa next year. As of May the 18th this year, the CH Aviation database showed that Boeing has racked up to date 521 orders for both versions of the 777X. This means that the 777 is the latest incarnation, will most likely remain in production for many years to come, and possibly decades. Popular aircraft, flown on the 777 many times. Lovely aircraft to fly on. Very nice Boeing product. It's done well for Boeing. It's done really well for Boeing. It's their most popular wide-body aircraft. And it looks stunning. I think it looks very nice indeed.
I mean, I have to say it was... I know it's much preferred. The 777 is much preferred over the 380 in terms of looking
Cruise,
after, from a crew perspective. But I have to say they were both equally lovely products, especially when you had the Emirates experience, if you see what I mean, in cattle class for it. Plenty of leg room and all that kind of thing. But of course, any aircraft can have lots of leg room if you're not trying to cram in thousands of people at a time. It makes all the difference. But
it does depend on how they configure them. Aircraft, one 777 could be awful Depends how many seats they try and cram into the aircraft.
The 777 was definitely, maybe because of where I was sat, perhaps in the aircraft, the 777 was definitely noisier. Than the 380. But then I dare say if you were anywhere near the engines, it would be a different story, sort of, there. So, but no, it is a lovely aircraft, and still making it, of course, as you say, as like freighters.
Yes, very popular freighter aircraft. That is very popular indeed. Yes, good on them. 30 years. My God, 30 years. Blimey, I was a lot younger back then.
Yeah. Weren't we all? Dear?
Anyway, weren't we all? Right, moving on swiftly with the next part of the show. Normally, Nev would be here to introduce this, but this week it's the alternative retro airline ad of the week. Now, this week we've got a double bubble, 2 retro airline ads for you this week. We're going to head back to the 1960s with a very United airline, and then we're going to fast forward to the late 70s for a not too well-known airline that was wild in the West.
United Airlines says come fly with me on your vacation. We fly to all the great vacation spots in this land, and our 6,000 travel agents have special fares and plans for every single one of them. They can even get you a free United credit card so you can charge it. See one of our travel agents first. Then, come on, come fly our friendly skies.
Jet travel isn't the same anymore.
My assigned seat. This is a low-fare airline?
It's complimentary.
This is a low-fare airline?
Cocktail? It's part of the service.
To Phoenix, the West and Midwest.
America West Airlines.
I'll tell you what, Carlos. The one thing I would say, like, I say this in radio as well. Actually, they don't make jingles anymore.
Oh,
and that's
no.
such a shame.
I know.
That United one was both painful and glorious all at once. I mean, it was really quite special.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And just for the benefit, in case the listeners didn't know, America West Airlines was an airline in the US that operated from 1981 until it merged with US Airways in 2007. It was headquartered in Tempe, Arizona. So, Arizona. So, hot country there. But, that was America West Airlines. Not heard of them before, actually, personally. I had to look them up. Tanya,
complimentary newspaper in economy. That's
complimentary.
Wow. My gosh.
A seat in economy.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
Well, no, it did say a booked seat, to be
a
fair.
book, a book seat. Tanya, the lovely Tanya in the chat room says the ramp agent in the first ad looked a bit like Carlos.
Oh.
I'm going to have to rewatch that now just to see.
Whoa,
Thanks, Tanya.
No. Hang on, what was that? No. It's much more fun.
The first ad. Oh, no, Tanya.
Yeah.
What
was it? Sorry, say that again.
The ramp agent in the first ad looked a bit like me.
What, this one here?
Oh, no, Matt's he's done his tech whiz. He's found it.
What, that one?
Oh, probably that one, yeah.
Yeah, he's got his hand in. Hang on. I don't know. He looks more like a Mondo to me, but there we go. Never mind. Yeah.
Oh my word! Richard Adams is saying in the chat room, only newspapers in economy are normally on a bit of string in the toilets.
Right. Yeah. Something to go with. That's always
my
important.
Word. That is so. Yeah. Well, you never want to run out, do you?
No.
Oh,
did
my
that
word,
once.
that's awful.
I have a story to tell you one day.
You ever find that airline toilet paper is it's never quite up to the quality standard that you get at home.
Yeah, moving on. Yes. Just because you treat yourself to the quadruple ply stuff, honestly.
Oh, yes. Quilted. Absolutely. Right.
Yes. Carlos wipes his bottom with, blankets. That's
with
essentially
duvets.
Yeah, absolutely. Indeed. Anyway, there we go.
Anyway, right, enough of this. Moving on. Honestly, what we like. Dirk S says, does the safety car glued to the seat in front of you count as newspapers?
Yes,
Word,
absolutely. I mean, it's got words on it and pictures. More
pictures,
yeah.
More important, yeah.
Indeed. Yeah.
Right, next part of the show then, it's time for a bit of the old grey painted stuff. So, Matt, hit the button.
What's up, bogeys? 13550, Angel 16, heading 340. Okay. 100 bogeys.
So we'll kick off with the first story then. It's in newatlas.com. That's the source for this one. And the headline is RAF unleashes Storm Shroud, the radar blinding combat drone. It looks like the age of the robotic warrior is here. The RAF has revealed that a radar jamming combat drone called Storm Shroud will be deployed to support Britain's F-35B Lightning II and Typhoon fighters using lessons learned from Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The idea of combat drones taking their place alongside conventional warplanes has been accepted for well over a quarter of a century, but the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine has pushed the trend into top gear as both sides have shown innovative new ways to use drones in conflict. While loyal wingman type autonomous fighters are still in the works and two have officially joined the US Air Force, they're still in the prototype or pre-production phase. The Royal Air Force has taken its autonomous collaborative platforms ACP a step further with Storm Shroud, whose job is to use electronic countermeasures to punch a hole in hostile air defences. Storm Shroud is based on the Tekova AR-3 tactical uncrewed aerial system, UAS. It is a small catapult launched fixed wing drone with a wingspan of 11.5 feet, that's 3.5 meters, and a length of 6.2 feet or 1.9 meters. It has a range of 54 nautical miles, that's 62 miles or 100 kilometers, while carrying a payload of 55 pounds, that's 25 kilos, and it's equipped with Leonardo's UK Bright Storm stand-in jammer. That's a 5.5 pound or 2.5 kilogram airborne counter jammer system, consisting of a miniature technique generator, an MTG, and bespoke transmit receive modules, TRMs, that can be used for high-powered digital jamming and deception techniques.
These things are getting really techy now, aren't they? They do so many different things. I mean, they're not just drones now that fly around and look at things and occasionally shoot things down. They're blocking, jamming radars and all the rest of it now. Yeah, and God knows how much these things cost. You need to have some pretty hefty, deep pockets for these.
Yeah, indeed. You're not going to get one for Christmas.
No, you're not going to find them on Temu either.
No.
Anyway,
not
ordering one of them. No. Next is dailymail.co.uk. And cue the X-Files music for this one. UFO crashes into US Air Force fighter jet over Arizona during terrifying encounter. So a UFO slammed into a US fighter jet over Arizona, cracking the canopy protecting the pilot and forcing the $63 million plane to land, new reports have revealed. According to the FAA, the F-16 Viper jet was hit by an orange and white UAS, which stands for Uncrewed Aerial System, better known as a drone, on January the 19th, 2023. Within a day of the collision, there were 3 more unidentified sightings over the Air Force's Barry Goldwater range where the fighter was damaged, the documents have stated. Barry Goldwater Range is an expanse of desert along the Arizona-Mexico border where the military practices air-to-air ground combat. The FAA's report of the F-16 collision revealed that the fighter was flying in restricted airspace near the Gila Bend in Arizona when it was hit by the object in the rear of the canopy, the glass bubble which protects the pilot. No injuries were reported, and the Air Force did not reveal how much damage the jet suffered, but the plane was grounded for repairs. These new details come as a stunning report from the Department of Defense All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office shows that there have been hundreds of UFO reports made in recent years, and Arizona is becoming the nation's new UFO hotspot. So AARO serves as a centralized department which looks into all things related to unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAP sightings, and reports what could impact national air security. F-16 collision was one of 22 incidents involving Air Force fighter pilots seen or crashing into strange objects between October 2022 and 2023. Thanks, Matt. According to azfamily.com. Most of the encounters took place within 100 miles of Luke Air Force Base, where many of the F-16 fighter jets using Barry Goldwater Range launch from. Although the FAA has said there is no evidence that a collision involves something extraterrestrial, it's one of several recent UFO incidents that have plagued the US airspace over Arizona. Now, I have to ask, Matt, come on. First, I need to ask, have you ever seen the series X-Files?
Of course I have, yes.
Oh,
yes,
obviously.
yes, yeah.
Excellent series.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen something that you couldn't describe or couldn't figure out in the sky flying? Apart from your drone, obviously.
Do you know what? No, I haven't. Usually, I've either been lucky enough to be with someone who has perhaps given me an expert. No, I know. Do you know what? No, I don't think there has ever been a sort of like scenario that, it's like a very bright star I've sometimes seen. The nearest I got to it was when they first launched all of the, the Starlink satellites.
Oh yeah, I missed that.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm so glad I missed that.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the nearest I got to sort of thinking, what on earth is that? And then, of course, a quick Google the following day was like, okay.
Oh yeah, those.
Indeed, yeah.
No, because we've got the RAF Bentwaters, the old RAF Bentwaters in Suffolk here, is renowned as being kind of a UFO hotspot here in Suffolk. There's been various UFO sightings, across the years there. But I mean, personally, no. I mean, I've seen lots of blinking, flashing lights in the sky, but they generally force me to get my phone out and click on Flight Radar 24.
You ping the Flight Radar 24, and the thing is your gut. So if it's something, then it doesn't come up on Flight Radar 24. You're just thinking, oh, military, and that's it. It's military. Like it's a very dull concept for you, really.
Yeah. Right, moving on to what we're doing this year, air shows for this year. We've got the Duxford Air Show we're heading off to this year on June the 21st. If you fancy going to that, make sure you get your tickets. They are selling out very quickly. They're £54.50 for the ticket for an adult. That does include your £5 parking ticket. But if you're an Imperial War Museum member, such as me and Mr. Smith here, you can get a few quid off that. Makes it £49.55 with the discount, including your parking ticket for that day. So as I said, we're going on June the 21st, which is a Saturday. So hopefully, if you're going to be at the Duxford Air Show June the 21st on the Saturday, we'd love to see as many of you there as we possibly can. Shuttleworth Summer Air Show, July the 26th. We're going to be there hopefully this year as well to cover that. It's 42 quid for adults, 36 quid if you're an air show member, and children can get into free there. The Bray Air Show, as you know, me and Nev are, Nev's driving over and going on a ferry. I mean, no, not ferries. I'm not a ferry person.
Oh no, but, I do love a ferry. I have to get the Isle of Wight ferry. I fell in love with that. It was absolutely brilliant. But
I mean, the one near us here, probably with the car one at the on the river here in Norfolk. What's that ferry?
The chain ferry. You mean?
Yeah, that's about as ferry as I get.
Ravingham, is it? Something
I
like
can't
that, isn't
remember.
it? Yeah, anyway, yeah.
But Jesse, we're off to the Bray Air Show on August the 2nd this year. So if you have got the ability to get over to Ireland on the 2nd of August, me and Nev will be there at the Bray Air Show with our good friend Alan White, who's busy arranging various exciting things for me and Nev to do while we're there, which is kind of exciting because there's a few things Alan's keeping quiet, not telling us what we're going to be up to, so looking forward to that. And also we're going to have our usual summer meet up here in the UK on the 30th of August at Beccles. For those pilots who are listening, that's Echo Golf Sierra Mike. It's the airfield there at Beccles. We'll be having a summer meet up on the 30th of August. All get together. It's a kind of, have a few bites to eat. One of our good friends is now the owner there now of the restaurant, so hopefully things will be great there for when we go and have a little meet up there on the 30th of August. Right, before we all head off, because I must just point out, Matt's not been feeling 100% today, and he's very kindly struggling through the show today for us all, so thank you to Matt. But before we go...
Welcome, sir.
Before we go, we are, as I said at the top of the show, we are giving away your very own... I mean, Matt's tried to steal us off him multiple times because he loves the aircraft. He keeps
hiding the keys to the garage. This is the trouble.
know.
Yeah.
But we are giving away this very own skin cut here from the Jet 2 Golf Lima Sierra Alpha India, the Boeing 757. First flew back in 1987 and was retired this year. And you have to just hold it up. You can see what the back end. It's funny coloured, the back end of this. That's what the fuselage
I feel like
skin
it should have been
like
cleaned
inside.
or something. It doesn't look like it's been cleaned.
But just dropped it. But it's been etched. It's had the details etched into the skin.
One careful owner.
Very nice. Yeah. One careful owner. Yeah, Jet 2. And you also get your little authenticity certificate of authenticity here from our friends over at the Plane Reclaimers there for that piece as well. So we are giving that away. There's no question. You've not got to go on Google and answer a million questions like we normally would do. All you've got to do is just email us, tell us your favourite film. So what film, your favourite aviation-based film you love. So what is your favourite one? I think for me, I know it's going to be generic, but it's Top Gun for me. I just love Top Gun. It's more down to the fact that I've got the 3D version, which I can watch on my telly in the front room, and it looks incredible in 3D. It looks so good. But that's all you got to do. Send us an email with your favourite film or films, aviation-related films, and we'll put all the names in a hat and pull them out next week.
What was the one where they threw Gary Oldman out the back of an airplane?
Oh, which one was that one?
I think it was Harrison Ford and Gary Oldman. I think he was the president or something. Not Gary Oldman.
Air Force One?
Yeah, possibly.
Air Force One?
Yeah. Quite
Air
like
Force
that one.
One.
Yeah. That's my favourite film. Just because there's two of my favourite actors in there, Harrison Ford and...
yes. Yeah. But that's all you've got to do. Just send us an email with your favourite films and we'll pull all the names out of the emails, put them in a hat, and we'll pull out the winner next week on the show. So make sure you tune in for that. And hopefully, we'll send it out to whoever wins and you'll have your very own piece of a 757 to put on your shelf and show off to all your friends. And it was a special one. One of my favourites because this particular aircraft was one of the few in the Jet 2 fleet that was painted in that awesome, I absolutely love that silver colour because some of them were white and this was the lovely, it's kind of like a almost metallic silver. So good.
Yeah.
So that's all you got to do. Send us an email. And if you want to send us an email, you can send it in to us. I shall tell you that in just a second. But you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or X. Do we call it X now?
Yes, we're supposed to call it X now, yeah.
Facebook, X, and Instagram. Search social media for Plain Talking UK. Email the show, so you can email us in with your favourite films to win or try have a chance of winning that piece of aircraft skin. It's podcast. That's PODCAST, podcast at plaintalkinguk.com. You all know that. You can check out the website, all the w's.plaintalkinguk.com, where you'll find links and information about us as a team. And also there's a shop there as well where you can treat yourself to some PTUK swag. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel where you'll get notifications where we're live, like we are right now. You can join us in a chat room every Wednesday night from 7 o'clock here. And there's also links on on there as well to become a Patreon of the show if you fancy donating a few quid to help with the supporting of Matt and his love of cables, because Matt does love a cable.
Obsession. Yes, absolutely. Indeed. Yeah. Don't forget the WhatsApp number, by the way, +44 7446 975 214. That's +44 744 697 5214. I'll do that one more time. +44 744 697 5214. And the best thing about it is it goes straight through to Carlos, and he particularly enjoys messages at 3 o'clock in the morning.
And the latest message that we had, and this is why we love our awesome listeners and viewers on the shows, because we have the obviously the WhatsApp number, and yesterday we got a message from Dirk. Dirk's in the chat room at the moment, and Dirk sent us a message to say that the thumbnail was slightly wrong for tonight's show, and it was handy because we didn't realise, we're just so busy. But luckily Dirk messaged in with the message that was what did he say now? It was the thumbnail for the show is incorrect.
Yeah,
it should be 552.
We're not allowed to jump. I think is what he said.
No skipping. No skipping.
No skipping episodes. Absolutely.
Well, thanks for that.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Dirk. And also, before we head off, Matt, Tanya says, "Feel better soon, Matt."
Oh, thank you, Tanya. Appreciate that.
Right, that's it for episode 552 of the show. Big thank you to everyone for joining us tonight. Massive thanks to Matt as well for stepping in tonight, even though he feels like rubbish.
But it's cheered me up no end.
It's cheered him up no end. Bless him. Exactly. We'll be back next week, where, as I said, we'll be pulling out a name from the hat of all the entries in to win that piece of aircraft skin, and hopefully we'll pull your name out, or my name. It'd be nice to pull my name out, to be fair.
No, you're not allowed to enter, Carlos. Those are the rules. Terms and conditions only apply to you.
Right, quick round robin. This won't take long. Matt, what are you up to next week?
Do you know what? I've got this weekend coming. I've got literally nothing to do. I've got an old DJ friend of mine called Ian, who's doing a disco, believe it or not, at Gillingham Swan, so I'm probably going to go along and say hello to him for a little while. But yeah, other than that, actually, the forecast here for Sunday and Monday especially, is absolutely abysmal. Anyone would have thought it was a bank holiday. But I've got no Park Radio events or anything. So other than being on the radio, which you and I both enjoy very much, that's all I've got to do this weekend, which I'm actually quite excited about. And boy, do I need it after the last couple of weeks. So yeah, indeed.
Yes, don't forget, if you fancy listening, if you're not content with just listening to me and Matt on the podcast here, don't forget you can catch Matt on the Breakfast Show on Park Radio on Saturday morning. He starts his show at 7 o'clock every Saturday,
and then from 10 o'clock, some guy called Carlos Stebbins, who I've never heard of before in my life. In fact, what usually happens, I should stress, is that a chap by the name of Carlos Stebbins derails the last 15 minutes of my show before starting his at 10. So there we go.
I know.
If you're listening outside of our part of the world, you can listen to us on FM. But if you're listening the outside of our part of this world, then you can go to the Park Radio website and listen to us on there, anywhere in the world.
And if you've not checked it out yet, the Park Radio website looks stunning, because Matt's done a good old refresh of it.
And I'm working on the Plain Talking one as well, actually.
And he's working on our one.
I'm struggling with the shop, because I don't like how the shop works at the moment. I want it to be better.
He wants it to be better, okay.
Yeah,
but yes, that's where we'll be on Saturday morning, if you want to tune in. Yeah. And don't forget, you can send Matt a message while he's live as well. Not to derail him on his show, but you can send Matt lots of messages while he's live on air on Saturday between 7 and 10.
Indeed. I think it was Darren. Was it Darren who was who messaged?
Darren, yeah.
I think it was while over. Yes. Came across, shall we say, across the airwaves. But indeed, it's something we enjoy doing immensely, isn't it, matey?
We do.
Absolutely.
Right. That is it for episode 552 of the show. Thanks again for everyone for joining us tonight. Been lovely to have you all in the chat room with us, and thanks to everyone who downloads the show each week, because we love you as well. You are all incredible listeners. Thank you very much. We'll be back next week with another fresh load of news stories and that all-important prize giveaway as well. So from me, Carlos, here in the P2UK studio of my own studio, and Matt in the P2UK Master Suite studios, have a great rest of the week. Have a great bank holiday weekend if you're in the UK. Enjoy yourselves. Stay safe, stay warm, and say goodbye, Matt.
Goodbye, Matt.
Oh dear, you lot are lovely, honestly, you listeners.
Aviation-based songs I've got to come up with, apparently, according to
Richard Adams.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll see if Matt can fill a whole hour of his breakfast show with just songs.
You'd be much better at that game.
Aviation.
You'd be much better.
That's a task. I think. Yeah. Do you know? I think you probably could just about fill an hour.
Do you reckon?
With aviation related.
I'll tell you what, if you could find aviation, if you could find an hour's worth of aviation #1 songs.
Oh my words!
There could be a nice little show there for producer John.
Yeah, there could do. Yeah.
But there we go.
Yes, right. Right, we're going to let Matt get off because he is feeling a bit under the weather, and hopefully he'll be back next week, all being well. Yes. Thanks to all the lots of love for Matt in the chat room, as always, wishing him well and getting well soon, they all say, Matt. So
thank you. Yes, it's an ongoing battle at the moment.
Ongoing battle.
Yes, absolutely.
He'll be good. Yeah. We'll look. I'll send him some beer over this weekend. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
To be fair, when Matt...
I don't know how well that'll go with the tablets, I'll be honest with you. But
when Matt lives here for while we're in Malta for the week, he'll have a fridge full of delights. There's no doubt about that.
Yes. and I know how amazing your wife is, so I know there'll be lots of cheese.
Oh, there'll be lots of cheese, yeah. Oh, heaven. God, there'll be bloody cheese everywhere.
Love that.
Oh, absolutely. Right.
Yeah, just out of interest, obviously, with Dave and Nigel, is there a cheese tax in your house, by the way?
No.
Okay.
No cheese.
That's good.
But although they do both love grated cheese.
Yeah, absolutely. As I say, yes. So we have a cheese tax in this house with Alfie the dog. You see, it's like if he goes to the cheese drawer in the fridge, that's it. You're not allowed to. You're not allowed to pass until Alfie's had a little corner.
Yeah. No, they do like a bit of cheese.
They do like a bit of cheese.
Yeah.
Is that allowed or is that forbidden?
Grated.
Grated is fine.
Grated, yeah. No, just a little sprinkle.
Just a little sprinkle, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they do like that.
Yeah, well, a little treat, just so that they, because obviously they're going to be missing Mummy and Daddy immensely, but they may miss you slightly less if I completely spoil them.
Yeah, Dreamies are your friend.
Excellent. Oh, really? Okay. Yes. Yeah, big fans. Yeah. All right, then.
Right. Thanks again to all the chat room for staying tuned tonight. Massive thank you to all. And that's it. We'll see you all next week. Have a great rest of the week. Enjoy the sunshine as long as it stays around here in the UK. And all the very best to you all. And we'll see you all next week. Wave goodbye.
Waving goodbye.